How's it going, guys, and welcome back to BL3's Forgotten. This is where I take a look at underused and not often talked about pieces of gear to determine whether or not they deserve to be remembered in the modern meta of the game or should be left behind and forgotten. And today we're taking a look at the S3RV-80S-EXECUTE. That's probably not what it's supposed to be read as, but that's what I've been calling it for years. If you'd like to get the S3RV-80S-EXECUTE for yourself, you're going to fast travel over to the Anvil on Eden 6, making your way through the first section until you hit the save station just after this gate. Heading on forward towards the sewer grates, as long as you have completed the side quest Malevolent Practice, the anointed X-2 and X-3 should spawn. And as long as you were on Mayhem 4 or above, both of these anointeds will have the chance to drop you the S3RV-80S-EXECUTE. Though being a Mayhem 4 gun, while much rarer, it can also drop from Wotan or the Valkyrie squad. The S3RV-80S-EXECUTE is a legendary Tediore pistol, able to come in any of the elements, and having the unique effect that when chucked without any bullets left in its magazine, it will stick to an enemy for 12 seconds, applying a debuff that makes them take 50% increased damage from all sources. But this debuff does stack, so you can hit some pretty high debuff numbers with it. Now, when chucked with a mag that still has some bullets in it, it will behave like a normal Tediore, exploding on impact and just dealing damage, but will not apply this debuff. The Execute has received one change, though it was just the overall Tediore chuck damage nerf. Now, before we get on into things here, of course, the S3RV-80S-EXECUTE is not actually forgotten, being a fantastic utility weapon used for debuffing enemies on a wide variety of builds. But similar to a lot of the non-forgotten utility guns that I've tried in this series, let's take a look at what it can do as a damage dealer. But before we get into how it performs, you know I gotta talk about how it looks, cause I fuck with this gun heavy, baby. My fucking autistic fixation is guns that are just like small and sleek or arm/wrist mounted. Yes, this is precisely why I'm the only Atlas fanboy. The Execute has that tiny ass form factor, smooth ass design, and the way it wraps around the hand kind of gives me that same sort of wraparound feeling that I like. Makes it look like I could beat the shit out of someone with it like brass fucking knuckles. I don't know how to exactly explain the way that this gun makes me feel, but trust me, if I were to accurately, I would likely be smited where I stand. They are not words that the good Lord would want me to say aloud. If y'all thought I was down bad for the cure, you ain't seen nothing yet. I am going to touch this gun, and that is a promise. Now, starting with this gun as a shooter, it was actually incredibly surprising as a shooter. At a first glance, the stats might seem a little on the mid side, but it's got a pretty nice fire rate on top of that damage, and it gets that debuff bonus, being a multiplicative bonus with almost everything else. Because a little side note with that, these global debuffs are pretty much entirely multiplicative with almost every other damage source, only being additive with other global debuffs like the Piss, the Zaitsevs, etc. But that debuff gives it surprisingly decent damage output, even up into True Guardian Takedown, which while it does fall off heavily around there, with it going from like blowing enemies the fuck up on True Molly 1 Takedown to feeling a little more like a middle B tier, it's still pretty respectable for shooting a Tediore that is only usually whipped out for utility. The biggest downside that firing the Execute has is its microscopic mag size for the whopping 8 fire rate. This of course makes sense, as you want to empty the mag as fast as possible to chuck out as many of these as possible on an empty mag to stack that debuff as high as possible, but trying to shoot it, you can definitely tell that it is, yes, made to be spam chucked. I unfortunately chose to run ASE next to mags on this thing for some of this video and heavily regretted it. If you are enough of a freak like me to want to use the Execute as a shooter, invest in mag size, a spammable action still, or ammo regen, or all three. The other issue here is the accuracy. I mean, look at it. It's rough, and it's incredibly noticeable when you're firing. Moving on to it as a chucker though, it is actually a really solid chucker despite not being able to really proc the effect if you use it optimally as a chucker. That being said, it is still a very solid chucker because 1, solid ass damage if you bump that mag size up, and 2, the speed. Holy fuck, you can really spam this lad out there with that 0.8 reload speed. It's a little bit ridiculous, but so fun. Are you gonna be blowing through pistol ammo like your mother blows through men in the Denny's bathroom? Maybe not quite that fast, but yeah, you're gonna be running out of ammo pretty often. Does that make a cut-purse launchpad necessary to have in your bag? Yup, but is it 100% worth it and fucking fun? Absolutely it is. This is genuinely one of my favorite Tediores in the game after making this video. I love how it looks, I love how it feels to play with both as a shooter and a chucker, and it held up pretty damn well across the entire endgame. Not only that, it is just genuinely one of the best utility guns, being able to stack that debuff pretty damn high. The S3RV-80S-EXECUTE was an incredibly pleasant surprise, and while I used to keep one in my bag for debuffs, I might just start keeping one in my bag for pleasure. And I do mean pleasure. That's gonna about do it for this one though. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all of that. Down in the description will be a link to my Twitch channel where you can follow to be notified of when I go live, and just under that is a link to my Discord server where you can come and join and hang out. But with that all being said, I hope to see you guys in the next one.